Eyes locked and hearts in tune. You believe in me and I trust.
Welcome into another episode of the Turn Fantasy Golf Podcast. My name is Andrew Putters. I'm here with my buddy Joe Nicely. And it is major season officially 2020. A lot of things going on this week, coming off a no-cut WGC where none of the people withdrew, which is kind of surprising that they weren't going to go ahead and get a head start. But Joe, let's start off with you. Big weekend, celebrating 20 years, postgraduate. What else you got? What else did you have going on this week? Did we hit any golf up this week?
I know you'd have to get that in there, man. Yeah, yeah, we had my 20-year high school class reunion Saturday, and it was actually a lot of fun. Enjoyed it. Got to see some people that I hadn't seen since high school. It's kind of one of those things I was kind of dreading going in a couple days leading up to it, but then really glad I did once I went. So we did that down in Knoxville and downtown, and it was really fun. Had a good time. Played a little golf Sunday, but my game is not going right now. And coming off the class reunion, things weren't clicking too well, so I got about 10 and a half holes in and hit the eject button there Sunday afternoon. Came home and watched the end of the WGC. Had a little sweat. So that's why that was my weekend. It was pretty fun. Had a good week with the WGC. Right in the mix up until the end. Had some bets that were looking good. Hit on JT, just small. Had Brooks really big. Really wanted that one to come through. But yeah, man, that was my weekend. What about you? Did you paint or put a crib together or anything?
Well, I was supposed to be going to French Lick, Indiana tomorrow morning. For about 2 years ago, my dad, my brother, myself started a little trip where we go play somewhere different every year, and we're head up to the French Lick Resort. And we ended up having to cancel because the courses were still open, but the resort was pretty much closed. The days, they were just basically the resorts only kind of open like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we're going to be there Tuesday, Wednesday. And we were kind of bummed on that because, it's got a Don Ross course and a Pete Dye course, the number 1 and number 2 courses in the state of Indiana. Had a big, huge steakhouse. The guy that built the resort is the same guy that built where the Kentucky Derby's held. So he kind of built that resort for his friends to come watch the horse races back in the day, So it was a very historic place. We were looking forward to it. But so we had to cancel that, for that's this stinking COVID-19 deal. And but we threw in we brought in a little emergency situation, and we actually are driving northeast 2 hours tomorrow to play the Virginian Golf Club, golf course, it's an amazing track. I play there quite a bit. So well, at least we're getting to do that. My brother's never been there, so
that's good. Fun. That's good.
But
a lot of Garth Brooks on the way.
Yeah. As far as what I did this weekend, my brother's in town, so we goofed off, and we actually got his drone and found Mapes on the golf course and got a little video of Mapes teeing off and sent it to him. We just kind of goofed off, let the kids swim, play, have a good time. But we're counting down the weeks. We got about 6-7 weeks till we pop out another kid,
I know. It's coming right around the bend.
Yeah, and I threw out on the Twitter this weekend is that the state mid-am is held at Southwind, and it's going to be when the baby's about 2 weeks old. And I already went to the wife and was like, hey, I got this idea. How about we take a little vacation to Memphis for our anniversary getaway? We'll go hit up in Graceland, and that was shot down quickly. She saw right through. She saw right through my intentions there. But I guess
Miss Four is a patient, understanding woman, but maybe not that patient and that understanding.
That's right. Yeah, she saw right through that, let's just say. But let's go back to last weekend. This was kind of my feeling going into it. I've said for a long time that I cannot stand no-cut events. But as Thursday, Friday, Saturday went on, I was like, I'm starting to get a hold of this stuff. No-cut events. Things were going really well, and I know things were going well for you. Let's start out with the shout-outs from last week. Ches Reevy.
Ches Reevy, the poor boy Andrew Putter's hot streak continues, baby, with Ches.
I'm telling you what, man, he was looking. He had top 5 locked up at $6,700 in a field like that. And had that little late bogey, I think, dropped to about 9th or 10th or something. You talked about Brooks and JT a lot. And you even brought up Phil, who was right there too.
Yeah.
One thing, I was telling you before, I kind of, stopped watching there for a little bit. I was watching quite a bit of it, and picked up my phone and looked, and there was a 5-way tie. Were you watching at that point? What kind of happened there? It looks like from just looking at the shot length that Brooks basically gave the tournament away at the end. Or
yeah, he did late. There were several guys in the mix to start the day, and then as we started getting wound down, it started thinning out a little bit. But Brooks was right there. He was on 16, which is a par 5 with a pretty tough pitch from just off the green. When he hit it, I thought it was going in the hole, and it ended up it was on a downslope. Caught the downslope, and instead of going in the hole for eagle, it goes off the green, and Brooks ends up making a mess of the hole. Then he comes back and birdies 17, kind of give himself a little bit of a chance, but then hits it in the water on 18 off the tee. So that was it. He was right there in the thick of it, just like we talked a lot about Brooks. We said it was a real interesting storyline last week and this week. And really, we saw what we wanted to see. At least I did personally. I wanted to see if he could kind of start flipping that switch like we know he does. Didn't necessarily have to win to feel good about him this week. We just wanted to see something from him. We certainly did. He came out with an opening round 62. Looked amazing Thursday. So it's all systems go for Brooksy this week. JT, we talked about being our favorite play at the top of the board. He's just played so well. Plays so well tee to green, and once again did that at Southwind to get the win. A lot of other guys we locked up there, like you said, Ches, touched on Phil. Daniel Berger was a play that I really felt well about. He played great, fought back after kind of a sluggish start. Matthew Fitzpatrick played well until a kind of late blow up. But yeah, man, we were really on it last week. A lot of good plays, and looking forward to this week, staying hot for the major.
Yeah, I feel like the only play I feel like that was whiffed on was the Paul Casey deal. Not saying that we were really on him or anything, but there's no reason why you wouldn't be on Paul Casey on that track. Even the week before too, Minnesota is Minnesota? No, Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota. Yeah, Casey was just purely a price play, man. And even though he had not finished well, he missed the cut in Minnesota. Same at the Memorial. Even though he missed those cuts, he'd actually gained ground in ball striking rankings, which is kind of crazy. But he'd actually been striking the ball really well off the tee and on approach. He just kind of had some fluky, weird things happen to miss cuts. He putted horribly at Minnesota. So at his price tag last week, you feel like maybe he can come around with where his ball striking was, but it was a disaster, man. It really hurt a lot of great lineups for me last week. Paul Casey did, so he's working himself closer to the list you don't want to be on.
Yeah, we coined the list a couple years back. If you played bad, you got put on the list in our group text, and it was always kind of a comedic thing, but. Yeah, we talked about it last week. This golf course is the number 2 spot for balls in the water on tour. Maybe you said it was leading tour. We was talking about number 11 being the second most balls in the water. And it did not disappoint. I think right out of the first group that played it on Thursday, 2 of them hit in the water, made double and triple. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of what we thought it was. What basically you laid it out. The cream's going to rise to the top at the end. Good ball strikers, good iron players. No, not necessarily bombers, but hitting the ball a long way is obviously an advantage just about anywhere. And speaking of hitting it long, it's major season. This golf course that we're talking about, the TPC at Hardin Park, coming up, definitely is going to favor the Bombers, wouldn't you say?
I hate to say bombers because bombers to me kind of implies the more bomb and gouge style. But I think you definitely need to be long. And it kind of sounds weird to say you need to be long and straight, but that's what we're looking for this week. These guys are definitely going to need some length with these long par fours, which we'll dive into a little bit more in a sec. But, yeah, I totally agree. Length's going to be a factor this week.
Yeah, and I guess I wasn't saying you say not the bomb and gouge, but more of the guys that have really, really long average distance off the tee, because this course really is going to take, probably somewhat of half the field out just with the length part on the ability to win. Not the ability to compete, but the ability to win. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. I think we're going to see some guys struggle with the length of a lot of these par fours. It's not going to come in huge yardage wise on the card, but we're going to see it play pretty long. There's several. I think there's going to be 7 or 8 probably par fours playing over 450 yards. So it's going to put a lot of pressure on these guys off the tee. There are a lot of dog legs on this course. They're going to have to position themselves well. So, yeah, I definitely think length is something we need to give some weight to when we're evaluating guys this week.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to give you a little rundown of the course. TPC Hardin Park in San Francisco, California. It's playing as a par 70 this week, normally a par 72. The card yardage is 72-34, but they're going to do some things uniquely with a few holes this week, and it's going to play I've heard as low as 69.5 maybe one day. It was built in 1925. They renovated it in 2002, and I believe that's whenever the TPC brand took it over from a municipal golf course. What do we know about this course? The only thing we know is that there's been a few tournaments played here in the past. In 2005, the big cat himself, in one of the most renowned highlight reel tournaments of all time, took down JD John Daly in the third playoff hole of the WGC American Express Championship. We know about the after story on that. JD took his several six-figure big check like Happy Gilmore, put in his Mazda Miata and drove to Vegas and blew it all in a slot machine in an hour and a half. But but yeah, that was a great tournament. I remember that tournament very well. 2015, they had another WGC match play event. I don't remember the exact name of it, but Rory took down Woodland 4-2 in that one. One thing I can tell you about these two tournaments I've already referenced is all 4 of those players hit it a long way, Joe.
Yeah. Good point. Good point. Yeah.
They've had 3 President's Cups, or they've had a President's Cup here in 2009, and it's going to return here in 2025. Here's a little stat to note on that. In 2009, the Cat went 5-0 in the President's Cup. They've also had 3 Charles Schwab championships here. None of that really matters because they play different tees, but that's what we know about this golf course. It has gotten some play on TV. Not a lot of people know about this golf course, quite frankly. If you'd asked me where it was that Tiger beat JD in a playoff at, I could not have told you. So, but yeah, go back to that. Tiger, John Daly, Rory, Woodland, all 4 of those guys hit it a good ways. That's going to be an advantage this week. So just go ahead and put that in. You got to hit it long and straight off the tee.
Yeah, I agree, man. And that brings a buddy of mine to mind, Charlie. From everybody knows him, everybody loves him from the Bagels Periscope. Charlie, my man, it is a total driving week. So shout out to Charlie. Big fan of Charlie. Can't wait to see who he's on this week, but had to get that out there. It is a total driving week this week, like Charlie likes. But like you said, man, yeah, what little bit of course history we had to look back on here. We see guys that hit a long way play very well, just like you said, Tiger, JD, Rory, Woodland. So it's something we got to take into account this week. this course is going to play a lot longer than it is on the card, I believe.
I agree. Just from looking at the scorecard comparison, it doesn't seem a lot different than the course we just got done playing. I have to.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's funny you say that because I keep finding myself running back into these same guys that I was on last week. So that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I think we're going to see more harsh conditions around the greens, and if you miss the fairway, I believe there's not as much water on this golf course. But I mean, those par fours. Now, when those guys were hitting in the middle of the fairway last weekend, I mean, you got to be honest, they were hitting for the most part 8s, 9s, and wedges in, and
yeah.
But when they weren't hitting the fairway and they weren't getting the rollout, it was, like I said, these greens are going to be a little tougher than what we just saw. I think around the greens, missing the fairways, it's going to be a bigger penalty. So who do you
we think so. Yeah, we're kind of guessing to a certain extent, and we're assuming that kind of the bomb and gouge, if you want to call it that, isn't going to work because of this rough. From what we've heard, we don't really know, but we're hearing it's 4 inches plus thick, fairly penal with fairly narrow fairways. So we don't think these guys are going to be able to bomb it down there and still have a reasonable shot at the green from the rough. But there again, we're guessing because we're not that familiar with this course. So like you said, a lot of emphasis on driving this week, not only length but accuracy. So we need guys that can hit it long and straight.
Yeah, and so who do you like? Saying all that, who do you like? Who we going with? Who we start top down? Who we like?
Well, I think we got to start at least talking about JT up at the top, coming off a monster win last week at the WGC. We really did like him, and I like him again this week, man. We kind of traditionally run away from guys that won the week before, but I think with JT's pedigree, with where his game is right now, with this being a major, I think we can throw all that out the window. I'm not one bit reluctant to hop back on JT this week, just because he's what we're looking for on this golf course. And that's players that are great tee to green, solid in every area of the game. That's what I'm looking for this week. I want guys that can do it all. And JT is doing it all better than pretty much anybody right now. I regained the #1 ranking in the world last week with the win. So I have no trouble hopping right back to JT. Another guy right below him, kind of surprisingly, we've been waiting seems like forever on this Draftkings pricing to come out. And we're just getting a look at it a little while before doing this, so bear with us. But kind of surprised to see Brooks up there. I think DraftKings cut a lot of people off at the pass. I think people were maybe expecting Brooks to be a little bit cheaper this week than where he's coming in right below JT. But there again, I have no problem at all going right back to Brooks. I absolutely love him this week. I think his performance in Memphis is going to really pump his ownership up, though. So I think he's going to be a popular option. Whereas if he played mediocre last week, his ownership would have been a little bit depressed. But I think there's going to be a lot of people jumping on that Brooks bandwagon this week, man. But how do you go against the guy with what he's done? He's won 2 PGA championships in a row. He's going for his 3rd straight one this week. And if last week's any indication, he's going to be right there in the mix. You got any thoughts on Brooks? You like him this week or JT?
Now I love JT constantly because he just hits his irons so good. And when they're dialed in, like we saw, I guess they're dialed in at the Travelers. They're dialed in at they're actually dialed in at Hilton Head. He just didn't make any putts. Dialed in this past week. I mean, it's like he was 8 foot every hole. On Sunday, he could have shot 62 easy. I mean, I think what he shoot 4 under, 3 under, or something. He could have shot way, way, way lower. But Brooks, it definitely got a different gear. But it's weird seeing him play so many weeks in a row. We're not used to that. And definitely, and since, doing this show, I'm paying attention to it a lot more. It's really weird to watch Brooks that he just, there's moments where the give a care is gone. But maybe that's his personality. it could just be his personality. You know,
I think we've seen that. We've seen that from him in the past. I mean, we kind of joke that it's a rule, but that you don't play Brooks in regular tour events, right? So I mean, I don't think it's anything new. I think a lot of it though has been frustration that stems from the knee injury, with his game not quite being where he wanted it to be. And I almost feel like he's been playing all these events to kind of try to play himself into shape, if that makes any sense. I mean, you're a lot better golfer than I am, so you kind of know more about that. But I get the sense that he has almost been trying to play himself into shape, like he's been working to get to this point. And we really saw a lot of progress last week in Memphis. So, I mean, I feel personally like he's primed, he's ready to go. These things are hard to win. I don't think you can just come out and say, hey, Brooks is going to win. But I definitely think he's going to be in the mix. I think he's going to be in contention on the weekend this week.
Yes, they're definitely the top two guys at the top, obviously, in pricing. You look right below that, and you got Rory McIlroy, who we've said on every show that we've had on that he can win any tournament on any golf course anytime. Man, his putting looked abysmal this weekend. I mean, the green he was making bogey, period. It's hard to watch. But, you know, with him, it never know when it's going to click, you know. And
yeah, that's true. I actually wrote Rory up this week in my Horse for the Course article over at Rotoballer because he did win the match play here in 2015. And I think he's really, with all this hype around Brooks and obviously JT, it sounds weird to say, but Rory might go a little bit overlooked this week. I think a lot of people that go up that high will go ahead and go to Brooks or go to JT. So Rory's a very interesting kind of contrarian, if you want to call it that, early in the week. So we don't know his ownership projections. I'm just going based on feel that he might go a little bit overlooked. Yes, he's not in the best form, but like we said on here almost every week since we've been doing this, he can win any week on any course against any field. He's done it here before. He's still hitting his driver great. He's gained strokes off the tee and tee to green in every start after the restart. He's just had some bad weeks with the irons, had some bad weeks with the putter, had some bad chipping weeks, just not had everything clicking quite like he did before. But he still had that driver well, and that's very important here. Hits a draw off the tee, which is another thing that might go a little bit overlooked this week. A lot of these guys now hit a cut. And Rory's one of the guys that still hits a draw. There are tons of dog legs left on this course. So Rory's draw, it's probably going to be a big deal this week, I think. I think that ball flight will help him. I think he's hitting his driver well. If things click, could be an interesting kind of pivot up there at the top off JT and Brooks.
yeah, I agree. I think his ownership's going to be way down considering of his form. You know, below him, I'm off Rahm, I'm off DeChambeau. I don't feel like you can play Xander at that price. So I'm probably not highlighting another guy till I get to Cantlay, to be honest with you.
I like Xander a lot this week.
Yeah, he played well. I mean, don't get me wrong, he played well.
It just feels like he's always there and in these majors and on these tough courses, and I feel like that's what this is going to be. I feel like he's just not had everything click yet, but he's had some really good ball striking weeks recently. He had not a great one last week, but he gained like over 6 strokes around the green. And I just feel like he can, if he's having a bad week or day in one area, he's so good at everything that he can make up for what he's doing badly by doing something else really well, if that makes any sense. But I really like Xander this week on this course. I wish the price was a little bit cheaper, but I like his chances, man. I think he'll be there in the mix. I really do. Come Saturday, Sunday, I think just because he's so good in every aspect of the game, I think that's what's going to be needed this week. He hits a ton of fairways. He's really good with his driver. He's got enough length. Hits the irons well, can scramble, can putt. You know, putting we all know can be hit or miss, but I really do like Xander this week. I'm like you. I wish the price was a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, speaking of wishing the price was cheaper, it's going to be hard to play two guys that I love to play. And for some reason, I was with him forever and quit playing him in 2020, and that's Jason Day at 8,400. He's too expensive at 8,400, but his form has come to – I mean, he's playing great. I mean, he's probably playing like
He
he's the
is.
best player in the world right now.
Yeah, he's looked good. I've not been on Day for years, honestly. I know you're a big Jason Day guy. I'm probably more interested in him this week than I have been in a long time. I'm still a little bit concerned about his accuracy off the tee, but we know that he comes to play in these majors. I was doing more research on him the other day for this, and do you know he's got 4 seconds in majors in his career? That's pretty crazy. He's always in the mix, and I like him on these tough layouts like this.
Yeah, his strongest part of his game is his putting, and that he has said numerous times that when he is practicing, he is probably spending 90% of his time putting on his practice mat at home, and so it obviously shows. I mean, he can grind out. He's a grinder when he's playing well. He's a grinder.
Yeah.
That's one thing also, I mean, about Tiger too. I love to play Tiger because he's going to play to
We gotta talk about him.
Yeah, we
gotta talk about him.
9,200. His game was definitely not there for the Memorial, but he grinded it out. I mean, he didn't play horrible considering the field. One really, really bad questionable day, obviously, Friday. But what are you thinking about the cat?
I have concerns, man, this week. I'm kind of right now with him. I'm expecting the worst, hoping for the best, but expecting the worst. I think he can play really, really well on this golf course if he were healthy. But I'm concerned that he's not fully healthy. I'm concerned that he's not played a lot. And I'm also, I don't know how valid a concern it is, but I'm also a little concerned about the weather, what the weather's going to be out there. It's California in August, but it's San Francisco, so it's going to be a little cool. It's going to be a little damp in the mornings especially, and we saw that really do damage to him at Pebble last year in cooler conditions. Horrible in the open over there in that kind of ugly weather. So like I said, I don't know if it should be a huge concern, but I don't think it's good for him. Certainly, I don't think the cool weather and dampness is going to help him. So that's where I am with him. It's not a strong take on Tiger. I hope he does well. Would love to see him play well. I think he can, and he definitely could in better circumstances. But I'm just concerned that he's not quite there.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, yeah, I love to play him though. I mean, he's a grinder.
Yeah, I mean he's fun to play.
Yeah. A guy really sticking out for me is his pricing has dropped tremendously, and we should be all over him is Terrell Hatton. We got to be all over Hatton at 8,000. He's right in there sandwiched between P. Reed and Tony Finau, who are pretty big fantasy point getters. They make a lot of birdies. What's your take on those three?
Hatton, I really like. He didn't play well at all last week though, which I guess it's kind of concerning. But we've seen him play really well in limited starts. It seems like every time he's teed it up, he's been automatic. Played really well from tee to green. Basically done everything great. Won the Arnold Palmer earlier in the year. He's basically been a top 5 machine whenever he decides to tee it up, which hadn't been a lot. But he did lose strokes tee to green last week. Which is kind of concerning. You have to wonder about his length on this course. Reed, you just can never statistically get a beat on that guy to project or predict what he's going to do. My only take on Reed is that we know he plays well in majors. We know he shows up. We know he's a grinder, plays tough courses well. So, I mean, I think if he can find fairways with his short game, he should be able to get himself in the mix here. Finau, we know, is playing great golf. We know he certainly hits it long and straight, which is exactly what we're looking for. He's been playing great with his irons. You just worry about his ability to close, which at 79, you don't necessarily need him to win the golf tournament. So I think he's an excellent play. I'm trying to find who I really love in that 8 range, and I'm coming back to those 3 guys that are out there together: Berger, Morikawa, and Hovland. And I can't. This course sets up perfectly for Morikawa and Hovland, especially with their ball striking ability. But I'm a little bit concerned about their lack of experience in majors. But I really do want to go there with them because I think they're so talented, and I think this course will play well for guys that just hit it good, tee to green, which they both do. Both excellent drivers of the ball. Morikawa is one of the better iron players we've seen in years. Berger's playing great. So I really want to go there, but I don't know if I can. You got any thoughts on those young guys playing in this major championship?
I mean, if you look at Hovland, the thing that really concerns me about his game is that he is painfully not good around the green. And we saw the little option right he had on Friday or Saturday.
Little Haas rocket.
Yeah, little Haas rocket. But, these long, tight golf courses, he just seems to make it work. Shoot around even par, a couple under.
He's just such a great ball striker, man.
Yeah.
He's such a great ball striker. He's only played in 2 majors, but he's played extremely well in 2 majors he played. He played in the Masters. He had I think he was a low am. He was like T32 or something. And then last year in the U.S. Open, I think maybe he was still an amateur or just turned pro. I think maybe he was still an amateur, and he turned pro right after. But he had like a top 20 in the U.S. Open last year at Pebble Beach. So, I say I'm concerned about his inexperience, but kid's played well. He's 2 for 2 playing in the Masters and the U.S. Open, and he's been hitting the ball as well as anybody on the PGA Tour. So I might have to get there with Hovland and Morikawa also. Yeah.
Now, of those 3, the Berger, Morikawa, Hovland, I'm definitely leaning towards the younger guys than over Berger. I'm just not a fan of Berger like you are. You've been playing him for years. I'm just not a fan of him. That's pretty much it with him. He has shown a lot of guts this year. Since the comeback, he's been right there and battling and grinding and stuff like that, and not just playing the golf courses where if you hit your irons well, you win. But he's been grinding. You got youth right there and inexperience. Let's slide down a little bit further and 2 guys that not been necessarily – we don't know about one of them at all since the shutdown, and the other one has played had a top 5 and then played horrible since then. That's Adam Scott and Justin Rose. I feel like one of those 2 guys is going to be in the top 5 come Sunday because of just their nature of being around the major championships.
Yeah, that's a really interesting range right there. I mean, you can even toss Gary Woodland in there at 79, who I think is an interesting play. He was runner-up to Rory here in the match play in 2015, and we saw him play – I don't want to say it's a comp course, but we saw him play win at Pebble last year in the U.S. Open. So we know he's a ball striker. So I think you could even throw Gary Woodland in that conversation. But, yeah, Scott, man, it's just so tough to play a guy that has not played in that long. I mean, I think if anybody can do it, you'd maybe throw a couple names out there, probably Tiger and Adam Scott would probably be the 2 guys you'd throw out there. So Adam Scott's certainly capable of going out there and playing well. But it's just such an unknown. You feel like it's such a gamble. Rose, we know he's capable, but he's been so all over the board since the restart. Kind of thought he was getting back on track at the Schwab, but then things kind of went sideways on him. So I would almost lean Adam Scott or Woodland over Rose there for me, just because he's been so hit and miss. It's almost better taking the unknown with Adam Scott than Rose right now.
It's so crazy to even think that you're saying that out loud, that, it wasn't even a year ago that not you in particular, but you would be you could roster Rose every week. He was a top 10 machine, and he was about 9,000 every week. And so,
yeah,
he is.
Yeah, it's been a noticeable decline, man, over the past 18 months since he signed that deal with that Honda equipment, which I think was at the start of last year. I think he did it on like New Year's Eve, the first day of 2019 or something. And he won one time there shortly thereafter. But it's just been a slow decline, and I don't know that we can put it all on the equipment. He's back to TaylorMade now, but he's just not been anywhere near that consistent Justin Rose that we could rely on there for years in majors in this spot. He's just not there right now.
I'm off Spieth, a little lower there. I'm completely off of him this week. I was all over him last week, and really, I mean, the guy made 2 doubles and a triple, or he's right there in the mix. You know, like we've.
Yeah, he played pretty well.
Yeah, he played good. I was actually if it hadn't been for really that, I think he had that double Sunday. If he hadn't had that double Sunday, I mean, he's right there in top 10 area. I'm still off Fleetwood. He hadn't got enough. We haven't seen anything out of him this year yet. Abe Answer though.
He's hitting his irons great. He popped out. He and Fleetwood both popped out right there. Fleetwood, I know he's not played, and I know he's not looked great. He shot 65 Sunday in Memphis. So it kind of makes you feel like maybe he's finding a little something. He gained strokes with his irons last week after a bad outing in Minnesota. So I'm really interested in Fleetwood at 77 because if he's anywhere near the Tommy Fleetwood form that we know, another thing he's really good at is he doesn't necessarily go low all the time, but he's really good at going low on tough golf courses. We've seen it in U.S. Opens. That intrigues me this week on a course I think it's going to play pretty tough. I think it's going to reward good shots, but punish bad ones. I don't think it's going to be U.S. Open tough, but I think it's going to be fairly difficult for a lot of the field. So Fleetwood's ability to score well on tougher courses at 7,700, I'm definitely very interested in Fleetwood, but also interested in the answer there, who you brought up. Didn't look great last week, but tee to green, he's been playing as well as pretty much anybody since the restart. We've talked about his iron play being phenomenal, especially in Hilton Head, but in other weeks. My only concern with him is his short game. It's the weakest part of his game. It's going to be tested this week. But, yeah, I'm interested in answering Fleetwood both there at 77.
Yeah, the 7,000 is very interesting from 7,000 to 7,900. There's tons of guys that you could see having a chance to win this week, tons of guys that are going to have easily be in the top 10 if they just don't make big numbers. I'm going to slide down to my pick of the week right now.
Been on fire. Chaz last week, you've been on absolute fire, so no pressure on a major week.
Okay. We got major championship game here. This guy checks that box. He's a major champion. He hits the ball long and very straight. Putt's good.
You better not say who I think you're going to say.
Iron's good. And he only made 4 bogeys last weekend and shot 3 under. Henrik Stenson.
Oh.
He only made 4 bogeys last week and only shot 3 under. I mean, I don't even know how you do that.
That's crazy. You sent me that text. I was like, huh?
Yeah,
I was like the little screenshot or the GIF or whatever, the guy like doing the calculations.
Yes.
Like, how's that even happen?
He made
okay, Stinson. I didn't see that one coming, but I like it. He's a ball striker. He
made 2 bogeys on Thursday. He had a bogey-free round on Friday. He had 1 birdie and 1 bogey on Saturday. He had 2 bogeys and a birdie, 2 birdies and a bogey on Sunday. He had 4 bogeys for the whole weekend. I don't know how you do that and only shoot 3 under. He's 35th. How's that happen? I don't know. But he's my guy this week. Now,
I like it.
It seems like he's either in the majors. It seems like he's either in the hunt or shoots 80. I don't know why that happens.
Well, if we're playing the Millie Maker, which people watching this show probably play different things, but a lot of them are going to play the Millie Maker. That name you just said is interesting, Henrik Stenson, because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for boomer bust guys. We're not very concerned with missed cuts because we got to have high finishes if we're gonna do anything in the Millie Maker. We need a winner. We need top tens. That's certainly a guy that can do it. Give you a lot of bang for your buck there at 7,100. So I really like that call, Andrew. That wasn't a name I was expecting to hear, but I like it. I'll give you my guy down here.
Go ahead.
Who I think's kind of been quiet. We know he can play, like you said. Like Stinson is a major champion, and just quietly kind of rounding in the form. And a guy that I like on this type of golf course is Shane Lowry. I think he's an intriguing play there in the mid sevens. Don't think he's going to get a lot of ownership. Don't think a lot of people are going to get on him, but we've seen him come to play in some of these majors. We know he partied for about 10 months after winning the Open, but I think he's finally sobered up because he's looked pretty good. Looked good in Memphis last week. This course kind of favors Europeans, I think, a little bit. Their style of play, fairways and greens, sharp ball striking, good short games. And he's just a guy that stuck out to me at that price. I mean, I think in the past we've probably seen him in the eights, but with some of his form over the past year, he's down here in the mid sevens, and he jumped out at me at that price. So my guy down there would be Shane Lowry.
Yeah, Shane Lowry is he's a grinder, and he hits the ball dead straight. Makes a lot of pars. That's what you got. That's what you want to be looking at, just like with Henrik Stenson. And that's why originally I mean I love Justin Rose in this spot. Unfortunately, he's been playing so bad that we can't be on that. But I'm with you though I'll be having a lot of Woodland, a lot of Stenson on this in that price range. That probably be my two guys in that range.
Yeah, that 7K is a nice little range. I mean, and we talked about going back to guys from last week. We obviously don't want to try to overload that, but Ches Reavie is playing very, very good golf, man. Has played really good golf over the past month, and he is a fairway finder and a green finder. We know the putter is hit and miss, obviously, but I think he's an intriguing play again this week.
Yeah, after you get down, in the sixes, though, I feel like we can just keep on scrolling because.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I was kind of surprised. Usually, there's some guys in these majors. Of course, as we mentioned earlier, we're just now getting kind of a first glance at pricing, so it's a little bit tough. But usually, there's some guys down there, especially in majors, that jump out right away. That's not really happening for me yet. It looks like it's something where I'm gonna have to work at a little bit to find any sub 7K guys because nobody's just jumping right off the board at me. But we're going to have to find some if we're getting guys like JT and Brooks in there, Rory and Xander up there at the top, guys like that. We're going to have to come up with somebody down here. I wish there were more that popped out, but there's just not for me. Are you feeling the same way about that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of guys. I mean, I'm obviously going to give probably Lucas Glover a little bit of a look, even though I hate playing him.
We don't talk about Lucas Glover on this show.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to probably give him a look. Probably gonna have to give.
Lucas Glover is on the list.
Yeah, probably have to give Piercy a little bit, just because he hits it straight and long. It wouldn't surprise. I mean, he can play a golf course like this, bogey free. Not many people can. I want to say that I'm going to give Jimmy Walker a look, but probably won't. He just doesn't seem like he's doesn't seem like this is a golf course that's so good for him though. He hits it long and straight. That's right. Good. That's really good. Other than that, just really, I got to be up in the sevens. So that might take some of the ownership away from the bigger guys. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think there's a ton that people are loving down there and that they're going to find a love. I mean, you mentioned kind of some of the veteran guys down there. Just some of the younger guys to hit on real quick that they really don't have what you'd call a major championship pedigree, but Mackenzie Hughes has been popping up and with some monster low rounds just here and there. He's a guy you might consider. You mentioned Glover, who I don't play, but I got to give you credit on that one. But Sepp Straka has been playing some good golf, and even up there at 7, I think is Richie Wierenski, who we've kind of been riding here the past few weeks, won the Barracuda last week, which I know nobody talks about, but it's still a PGA Tour event. He went out there and beat 140 plus guys. So Wierenski, Hughes, Straka, some kind of lesser known names that you don't really think about in major championships, but if you're looking to save some salary, might be legit options.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, before we head out, I got a couple of things we want to talk about real quick. If first time coming here, give us a subscribe, hit our like button. It helps us out on YouTube. If you listen to us on the podcast, share it with your friends. You can find us at Joe Nicely on Twitter or at Andrew Putters on Twitter. And the show has actually got a Twitter account too. I believe it's at the Turn Golf Pod. At
the Turn Golf Pod on Twitter, yeah.
There you go, and we got a little merch in the mail coming your way. If you if you follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube page, we'll hit you up in the DMs and get your address and send you a little sticker. We got a little fancy golf pod sticker.
Yeah, we got a few of these. We're going to give some away. We'd like to give everybody one that hits us up, and we'll try to get as many out as we can. But yeah, definitely like, follow, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and hit us up. We'll try to get you something out as best we can. Just trying to have some fun. They're awesome little golf cart stickers. That's what we're calling them. A lot of our buddies over at the Beaver Brook Country Club are going to be rocking those on their golf carts here pretty soon. So we definitely want to get you in the Turn Club. So just hit us up, like, follow, all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And real quick, Joe, hit us up on our title sponsor there, Roto Baller.
Yeah, man, huge week for us over there. Major championships always are. We've got an awesome product for you. You can get the rest of the year right now using promo code NICE, N-I-C-E, for $50. Or we also offer a 1-week pass if you just want to hook us up and check out the majors. I'm doing a PGA DFS Bible over there, which is almost every player in the field covered. Spencer has an amazing betting article, rankings wizard over there. Josh Bennett's got an amazing course breakdown. He goes hole by hole with Google, something that's worth the price of admission this week by itself on a course we don't really know that well. Tommy Bell does value plays. So we got a ton of great stuff over at rotoballer.com. Definitely come check us out this week.
That's right. Yeah, I appreciate everybody listening. And like I said, give us a follow, hit the like button. And Joe, wait a minute. Here it is. I forgot.
It's majors. We always got to give the AK shout out. Our guy.
That's right.
Our guy, the legend.
We miss him. We miss you. We miss you, baby.
We miss you, baby. Come back. We need you.
Back. Maybe we do a GoFundMe and raise about $20 million to get him back on the course.
It might take at least that to get him back.
Anyway, that's our episode. You've listened to the Turn Fantasy Golf Pod. We'll talk to y'all next week. Joe, just go out there and make lots of birdies, baby.
All right, Andrew. Good talking to you, man. Good luck this week. Hope everybody has a good one.
See you, buddy.
If I start to blow, you're taking me down.